Okay, how in the world can a racetrack as awful as Kentucky can produce one of the most exciting finishes of the season? Racing works in mysterious ways. Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Jack Cross from NASCAR on MDK. Welcome back to another episode of the NASCAR on MDK post-race show. Kurt Busch wins at Kentucky Speedway, and I believe becomes a ninth different winner of the season and locks his spot into the playoffs. Now, we're just going to pick it up on the final stage because stage 1 and 2, nothing happened. It was typical Kentucky. While there were some exciting moments, that being restarts, they were the only exciting part of the first two stages. The final stage is where really things started to heat up, so we're just going to fly right through the last stage. It started off with Clint Bowyer and Kurt Busch out in front, with William Byron, I believe, in the 4th spot. Byron got a good run pushing Bowyer that pushed Byron into 2nd place, with Bowyer leading. That is when the 48 car Jimmy Johnson, who was running around 7th place at the time, got loose in the middle of 1 and 2, hit the wall and spun around to bring out the 5th caution of the day. He eventually finished in 30th place. That set up a restart between Bowyer and Byron, and that's when some controversy takes place. Byron was penalized for a restart violation. What happened in the restart zone? Byron was just getting pushed repeatedly from Almirola. He then got ahead of Bowyer. Byron eventually then even gave the spot back to Bowyer, but according to the rules, he jumped the restart, so as a result, he had to be penalized. It was by rules, it was, yes, he should have been penalized, but it was such a BS call, like in terms of common sense, really, but whatever. Byron, I believe, was able to round out back inside the top 20, but really should have had a top 10 finish, in my opinion. That's when we get into sort of pit strategy, almost. The 14 of Bowyer and the 1 car Kurt Busch, they were battling hard for the race lead, but Bowyer could not, held the lead against Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch cannot get past him due to the air and all that. We're not going to get into that. That is when the 18 car Kyle Busch and the 22 car of Joe Logano, they started them battling. Then it became from a 2 car battle to then a 4 car battle for the lead. And we eventually, I believe at some point, saw a pass for the lead with a 3-wide pass, which you never see at Kentucky. A pass in general for the lead is a shock. A 3-wide pass, it's like unthinkable, but that's what happened. The 14 car of Bowyer then pits, and then the 1 car of Kurt Busch pits. Now, the interesting part was to see if Kurt Busch was able to get ahead of Clint Bowyer, because that would have been the battle for the lead. Busch would eventually get out ahead of Bowyer, and Kurt would eventually be the race leader once pit cycles cycled through. However, Kyle Busch was still ahead. He was still out in front. So now what happens is that with Joe Logano in 2nd. So then Kyle Busch and Joe Logano, they come on the pit road later. Then Busch and Logano then eventually get ahead of Kurt Busch and Bowyer. So it'll be Kyle Busch will be the leader, Logano 2nd, Kurt 3rd, and Bowyer 4th. That's what would have been if everything cycled through. Eric Jones then. He, I believe, only takes fuel. Yes, he only takes fuel, and the reason why, and right side tires, because Jones didn't need as much fuel as Kyle Busch and Joe Logano needed. So then it was maybe if Eric Jones could get ahead of Busch and Logano, but he eventually wasn't able to do so. He would eventually come up behind Kyle Busch and Joe Logano in 3rd place. Then the battle between the 22 and 18 would take place, as that would be for the eventual race lead. Joe Logano got a good run off of turn number 4, was able to get side by side with Kyle Busch, but then nearly made contact down the front straightaway. Logano went below the yellow line, came back up, nearly ran into the left side of Kyle Busch. Logano overdrives into 1. Kyle Busch crosses underneath Logano to take the lead back, but then Logano, entering 3, was able to get side by side with Kyle and was eventually able to take the lead. Then when everything cycled through, Logano was the eventual leader and would start to pull away from Kyle Busch. And by that point, we all thought, okay, all said and done, Logano's going to win. 5 laps to go then takes place. Bubba Wallace blows a right rear tire and spins in the middle of 1 and 2 to bring out, I believe, the 6th and final caution of the day. That set up a restart, an overtime restart with Logano and Kyle Busch out in front. And then a remarkable 2 passes. Jones goes below the yellow line, goes underneath Logano, passes him, and then Kurt Busch goes to the outside of Kyle Busch and makes it a 3-wide battle between Jones, Kyle, and Kurt off of turn 2. Then it would be Kurt and Kyle Busch. They would get side by side and would stay side by side the entire way through. Coming off of turn number 4, I believe that's when, and heading to the white flag, Kyle Busch makes contact with his brother Kurt. Kurt started to get a tire rub in the middle of 1 and 2, and we all thought, okay, he's going to blow a tire in 3. I still thought Kyle Busch had this race in the bag because he was on the bottom of the racetrack. He had the preferred lane. But then entering 3 and 4, Kurt sailed it in, was able to hold that thing, make it stick, was able to get by Kyle, Kyle nearly spun the thing. He was able to save it off of 4, but Kurt would beat his brother Kyle and would win at Kentucky Speedway to score his first win of the season, the first one at Kentucky, and that would be Chevy's first ever win at Kentucky Speedway. So let me just get into results here. So Kurt Busch wins with Kyle Busch second, Eric Jones third, Kyle Larson fourth, Denny Hamlin fifth, Clint Boyer in sixth, Joe Logano seventh, Daniel Suarez eighth. Great run for Daniel Suarez. He was awful. He started on pole, then I believe he then came up pit road for 4 first starts, started way back in the 14th. Then I believe had a pit road speeding penalty that just ruined his day. And he was at one point he was even 3 laps down at the end of stage 2. So the fact he was able to come back to 8th place, that's a win. But yeah, so 9th place, Ryan Newman, great run for him. Chris Buescher in 10th, another very underrated. I talked about him in my mid-season grades. That is one of the most underrated drivers I feel like in NASCAR today. Somehow he puts cars like this in the top 10. Great run for Chris Buescher. Paul Menard 11th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 12th, Ryan Blaney 13th, Eric Almirola 14th, Chase Elliott at 15th, Matt DiBenedetto 16th, Alex Bowman 17th, William Byron 18th, Mark Truex Jr. Very just weird. That was a weird day for Truex. He started out mid, but then just fell apart later on in the race. 19th run for him, and Brian Keselowski in 20th. Now, he had issues with the car. I think he said something about having a valve spring come off or something like that. He had mechanical problems with the car, so he would finish in 20th. Another notable, Kevin Harvick, 22nd. Just, again, a really off day for some of the big names that you expect to win or you expect to run up front. They had issues today. Now, what would I give this rating? From stage 3, great race. 8 out of 10. Great race from stage 3 to the end of the race. Stage 1, stage 2, however, absolute garbage. 3 out of 10. Again, the only good part about it was the restarts, and they were good, but they weren't anything magical. That was the only good part about stage 1 and 2 was the restarts. But stage 3, I don't know what happened, why all of a sudden they just started to race good, but it was a great race from stage 3 on. But stage 1, stage 2, utter garbage. So, yeah. Wasn't the best overall Kentucky race. That goes to 2015, in my opinion. But for stage 3 on, that was a pretty entertaining race. So, yeah, congratulations to Kurt Busch. And really just a great win for everyone at Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, it's up to Kyle Larson. Kurt Busch can win. Now Kyle Larson needs to do something. Because remember, that one car was ran by Jimmy McMurray that haven't won a race since Talladega 2013. That was the last time the one car went to victory lane. Now Kyle Larson needs to step up to the plate. I believe he's still in the playoffs. I think he's 13th or 14th in the standings, I believe. I don't know. The standings have not been posted yet at the time of this recording. But, yeah. Again, stage 3 on, 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, whatever. Oh, great race, but 1 and 2, absolute garbage. Next week is New Hampshire. Yay, but that's next week. We're going to save that for next time. But thank you so much for watching. Tell me what you guys think of the race in the comment section down below. Until next time, I'm Jake Ross from NASCAR and MDK, and I'll see you guys in the next video.